Welcome to the Risk Forever channel guys, the channel which shares the most relevant tips and tricks on how to win at Risk, and improve your rank in no time. Subscribe to the channel and you won't even see how fast you will become so much better at Risk. Push that notification bell to see new videos first. This is your host Champion Ever. And today we are playing 6-player progressive card game on classic Risk map. Settings, alliances off. Balanced blitz dice rolls in 60 seconds per turn. This time I'm playing against 2 expert rank players who are green and orange, 1 master rank player who is purple, and 2 grandmaster rank players who are yellow and blue. Another progressive card game with high rank players guys. As always, wish me best of luck as I will definitely need it more than ever, I just feel it. Select one of the players and root for them. As you can see, the green player is the most lucky over here. The setup he got has really favored him. No Australia, no win guys. The motto which every Risk player knows, so this is why everyone was so much laughing over here. I think the fate has been decided. The green player got Australia in his first turn, so he is the chosen one. All other players including me, can just leave the game and make it easier for him, as he is going to win anyways. Or maybe not. Will we actually face a brave hero which is going to sacrifice himself for Australia? I don't know. But I think we could expect anything. Australia is OP continent, so the question who is going to have it at the end? Well, but what if I told you that you don't necessarily need to have Australia to win? That's hilarious, isn't it? And what if I told you that you don't even need to have a continent at all in order to win a progressive card game? Wow, that's just cannot be true, someone of you might say, right? Well, in this game I highly believe I'm not going to get any continent, and so aren't the other players. Continents in one hand can be very valuable and boost your advantage, but they're just a bonus. The main thing isn't in that. Cards. The cards what matters the most when it comes to progressive card games, and you get more of them by taking your opponents out. But don't take an opponent out just because you can. See how many cards and troops does that opponent have, and also take a look at the current value of sets. And then taking everything into the account and making the super duper calculations in your mind, decide whether you go for a hunt to take that opponent out. Be a brave warrior and don't be afraid to risk it if you see there's a really good opportunity. But don't become overconfident too. If you see there's a low chance to succeed, then maybe better don't go for it. So be wise when it comes to making decisions. And most importantly, be tactical, always plan ahead, as this will help you win the most when you've learnt the basics. You will never ever have to regret or be sorry about yourself what you only noticed an opportunity when there was already half of your turn passed. So be prepared, do the deep calculations in your mind, observe the situation, follow other players' moves, and when the time is right, be prepared to make the final hit. I believe in you, my friend. And you have to believe in yourself too. Others might not, but deep in your heart you must know that you will succeed. So self-motivate yourself as much as you can, start learning, start practicing, believe in yourself, and be prepared to face some great outcomes in your life. Try changing your attitude from negative to positive. It's not the end of the world even if you fail, as we all make mistakes and not always succeed. But this is where the learning and improvements come from. So don't give up even if you lose 10 times in a row. So yeah, I hope you guys liked my motivation, and now let's get back to the game. One of the most important things in progressive card games guys, is to be spread out well enough, to have your troops in multiple different places of the map. But by spreading out, I don't mean that you have to have your troops split around the same place. That's no use for that, as it just becomes harder for you to take someone out, while for someone it isn't harder to take you out at all. So if you have multiple smaller armies in pretty much the same place, then either try to combine them into one big army, or with every turn try to move them from each other. So now let's analyze each of the player situation on the board. How much well are they spread out? Starting with me, the red player, I have my troops in 3 different spots of the map: North America, Africa and Asia. It seems the armies are pretty far from each other, but another factor we have to take into account is their accessibility towards each other, how easily they would be reachable going from one to other. So what can I see, is that there are a lot of other players' troops between my armies, meaning that if anyone only had one big army somewhere in the map, then to fully take me out, that person would have to crush a lot of additional other player troops, so basically it would be barely or maybe even not worth it at all for that person to take me out. So I can consider that I'm spread out good enough, but not too well because I see other players are spread out too, so some of them could still take me out if they get a set at the right moment, because their armies are connected to my troops. So I'm not completely safe over here. I wish I had a few troops either in Australia or South America too. Like we see the purple player does. He has exactly 2 troops on the territory of Argentina over here. And the 2 armies of yellow and blue on Peru and Brazil work like shields for the 2 troops of the purple player. So if anyone wanted to take the purple player out, then firstly they would need to crush either blue's or yellow's army too. So the purple player can definitely feel way much safer, well at least when it comes to everyone except yellow and blue. I would just add a few more troops to that purple's army if I were him, as they're only 2 troops, so some players could decide to take them down with no hesitation at all, especially if they don't have any other territory to attack which would be made of 1 or 2 troops. So besides these 2 troops in South America, the purple player additionally has troops in North America, Europe and Africa. So he is spread out good too, but I just don't understand why he keeps 3 and 4 troops on North America borders rather combining them into his 11 troops army. As the purple player isn't getting North America for sure, and the split of troops to have more territories in order to get more troops per turn won't help him either. He needs to have 12 territories in order to start getting 1 extra troop per turn. But even if he gets them, 1 troop more per turn won't make any difference for him at all with set values being so high. And the disadvantage the purple player has, by having these armies on the borders, isn't because if someone has to go to North America, then these troops will just simply get crushed. Nobody will mind to crush either 3 or 4 troops for a bigger kill at all. So actually I will have to move my 6 troops from the North American border too, from the territory of Greenland. I didn't want to leave them there. But from trading in a set I've got 2 extra troops in Africa. So by not wanting to leave these 2 troops there or with these troops attacking the East Africa territory to block myself from bottom army of blue, I decided to leave my 6 troops there and fortify them back next turn. Now when it comes to the situation of the green player, the initial setup hasn't favored him at all when we talk in terms of being spread out, but on the other hand he's got very favored by getting a continent in his first turn. So he's got an advantage in being stronger than others. But I'm not just sure why did he decide to skip a card at one moment as we can see over here. Well maybe he has something in plans I don't see. But the moment when he really made a mistake, was back then when he blocked his Australian army. You should never block your troops in progressive card games as they're all about taking your opponents out when it's worth for their cards, and with a lot of your troops being blocked, it becomes so much harder to take someone out, if not impossible at all, depending how many troops of yours are blocked. But the green player got lucky over here when the orange player unleashed his army. If I were orange, I wouldn't have unleashed green's army. I would have rather kept him in being in disadvantageous situation when it comes to that army of troops. As now if the orange player doesn't have a set at 4 cards, then the green player could take him out. Well, probably it would be too risky to try, but he definitely would have gotten a potential opportunity if he had added more troops on his Kamchatkan army for orange's troops in North America. Now quickly talking about the blue player, he's basically spread out as good as me, having 3 different armies in 3 different spots of the map too, Africa, South America and Asia. Talking about orange, his position the spreading out wise is one of the worst after green. He has his troops only in 2 different spots of the map, North America and Europe. And basically the same bad situation with the yellow player as well, he has troops in South America, North America and Europe, but these 2 armies in the Americas are very close to each other, so we can consider it as the same spot. So the yellow player is basically in 2 different spots of the map as well. so that wraps up the player's positioning on the board. Now it's the time for some real action. My initial plan was to go either for blue or yellow, taking one of them out and then immediately another one after two. But the orange player not having a set at 4 cards, has really caught me off guard. So with not that much time having to rethink the situation but with orange having even 5 cards, I decided to go for him firstly. Of course I succeeded, but the question wasn't really in that, it was whether after taking him out I will be able to take someone out as well. And fortunately I noticed that the yellow player will be on the way too, so with getting enough troops from the set I took him out as well. And then it was a decision point for me, whether to take the blue player out. I saw that I had enough troops, but the blitz rolls would have been very risky, and if I had failed one of them, then the blue player would have been given away for the green player. But when I said to myself, let's risk it, let's go for that single turn victory. So no matter the outcome I won't regret later on thinking how that could have gone if I blitzed him. And this is where the luck has favored me again. I successfully took the blue player out too, and from then I knew that I win the game no matter what. As even after taking the green player out, I run out of well-positioned troops to take the purple player out in a single turn as well, then it doesn't that matter, as I will finish him off in the upcoming turn with no problems. But luckily one more turn wasn't needed, as with getting good blitz rolls I managed to take the purple player out too. Wow, good game you all. I took all 5 players in a single turn. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then I would recommend checking some of these out as well. Watching more videos will help you to progress so much faster. Highly increase your skills by simply watching Risk videos.